Welcome back. Now, there's been some progress in rooting out corruption in the police. Some current and former high-ranking officers are now in cuffs. They were arrested in relation to a 2016 tender valued at 54 million rand. Let's get some reaction now from the DA's Shadow Minister of Police, Andrew Whitfield, who joins us now virtually. Mr. Whitfield, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Of course, I'm sure you were quite excited to see that the wheels of justice are finally turning after yesterday's breaking news on Phahlane and the rest.
Well, I think all South Africans should be excited that the wheels of justice are grinding. Even though they grind so slowly, they certainly grind exceedingly fine, and we must appreciate the efforts of the investigative directorate in swooping in on these high-ranking SAPS officers who have been involved in what is no less than a sort of money laundering scam inside crime intelligence, which has been ongoing for many, many years. So certainly very excited and very positive developments, but I suspect just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, I don't know if we should rule out the possibility of more arrests, because I have communication from an inside person who was investigating along with IPID and then the ID, etc. And he said to me Phahlane had a goon squad to interfere with this and other investigations as well. So it looks like there'll be other revelations on Phahlane, but also other police officers who assisted him in covering this up.
Well, we know that former National Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane was implicated in the blue light scandal. We know that there have been procurement investigations into procurement issues under his tenure as the acting National Police Commissioner. This arrest confirms the suspicions that many South Africans have had about him and others. Nobody operates in isolation when it comes to the ANC government. Nobody operates on their own. It's all part of this criminal syndicate which has taken over the state, and we're starting to see it play out, hopefully in the courts, but ultimately, hopefully, that these arrests and these investigations that are ongoing lead to successful prosecutions. That will be the day that we can really celebrate the efforts of our criminal justice system.
And I hate to play devil's advocate, Mr. Whitfield, but if you look at this and you see, like you mentioned, there's other cases as well. For instance, the Blue Lights case and now this particular case, all of them worth millions of rand. And you look at how our police officers who are on the ground are always blamed for a lack of service, etc. But if you look at the fact that their leadership is like this, then you are bound to say as a South African that the leaders lead by example.
Well, we know that a fish rots from the head, and that's certainly the case when it comes to the South African Police Service. We believe that the reforms that are taking place outside the police are long overdue, but the reforms inside the police are simply not happening. We don't see the kind of institutional reforms required to turn the South African Police Service into an environment in which people want to go to work. More than 70% of police officers don't believe that SAPS cares about them. And that is a failure of leadership and leading teams. And ultimately, South Africans take their frustration out on our officers on the beat, on the ground, in our communities. But really, the target of our criticism should really be the politicians running the police and our government. President Ramaphosa appoints the National Police Commissioner and he appoints the Minister of Police. The buck stops with him as far as the failure in policing goes. But this is not something that's happened overnight. It's been part of the sustained capture project of the ANC, which has rolled out since the Zuma era and even potentially before then, where cadres have been deployed into the police service who are simply not fit for purpose. They get promoted over long-standing, hard-working, skilled police officers, and that inevitably leads to a decline in morale and a decline in policing standards and service delivery. And so that is what we need to do. We need to overhaul the leadership of SAPS, and we need to make sure that we create an environment that's conducive for police officers to enjoy their work and to go to work serving the people of South Africa.
And just very quickly, Mr. Whitfield, looking at the fact that we're seeing so many of these cases suddenly coming up, and this person whose text that I just read to you saying other investigations, it means that, leadership of police are prone, or susceptible to giving in to corruption, etc. And then yesterday, you see those police officers who marched to the union buildings asking the president to please assist them in terms of the fact that they haven't been getting salary increases. So what do you say to those police officers when when you see, for instance, just one of these corrupt deals costing South Africans 54 million rand?
Well, we need to make sure that police officers who are aware of any information or additional information feel confident to come forward and blow the whistle. I think that we need to get the honest, hardworking police officers, of which there are many, rising to the top, and we need to squeeze out the corrupt and incompetent senior leaders in the SAPS who are simply not fit for the jobs that they are holding. Now, today in the police committee meeting, I asked the police committee chairperson, Tina Jumaat-Peterson, to summon the minister to come and account for this and other reforms that are taking place, and to give the committee feedback on these investigations so that we can also be briefed and updated as to what urgency the minister is applying to overhaul the South African police service, because at the moment we don't see anything, and obviously our police officers are not seeing what they desire, where over 70% of them don't believe that their senior leaders actually even care about them. So it is a very sad and sorry state of affairs. It is a long way to go. And as I said, we will celebrate when the hammer comes down in court and those senior officers implicated in this latest scandal are prosecuted and sent to jail. That is the day that we're all waiting.
And it's quite worrisome as South Africa approaches one of the deadlines to try and avoid forming part of that grey list. Thank you very much for your time. DA Police Shadow Minister Andrew Whitfield speaking to us there.